Hello, ladies. Welcome. Welcome to the Dear Single Women's Podcast. I'm your host, Shanentra, and yes, I am still here. The Dear Single Women's Podcast is a podcast for women who are healing, growing, living, and loving their lives on their terms. Please like this podcast. You can find me on Instagram, Nubian_Nintra, Nintra. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Shanentra Says, where I also post the podcast episodes. And hopefully I can start producing content for you guys again, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll get into it. Thank you for listening in. I hope that my audience has been well. Whoever's still here, whoever's listening, I hope you've been well. I hope 2024 has been kind to you. 2024 has been an interesting year for me, but again, we'll get into it. Today's episode is called Realignment is the Assignment. And I've been talking a lot about alignment this year. That's been something I've been thinking about and just seeing how important it is that whatever you do, be in alignment with who you are and where you are in your life at this moment. And I more learned through consequences of what happens when you don't move in alignment with yourself. And so that's been, I think the person who has seen what happens when you don't move in alignment, that's the person that's best to speak on alignment. Often we learn through failure or through things not going as we think. And, that's certainly been 2024 for me. It's been a shifting. It's been a lot of realignment. And so there are things that I have learned through this journey as we now come to the end of 2024. And I promise you, for me, this will all be left in 2024. Because once you get the lessons, you don't need to keep getting the consequences. You've got the lessons out of it. So take what you were meant to get from those experiences and move on. And move on in power. And that's why realignment is the assignment. When you have an assignment, there are things that you can actually do. There are things you have to accomplish. And I always say, single ladies, you are in the driver's seat of your life. Life does not just happen to you. It happens for you, and you make things happen. You are powerful and you have power. And I hope to encourage you with that, with this episode today. So, just a brief overview of where I've been. My last episode was about dating online, and I really haven't gotten back into dating online. I think I did join a few apps, but I don't check them. I haven't had a date from them. I haven't used them. I still don't think they're safe. And I don't know. I think for me, being in alignment, when it does happen for me, it has to happen in a way that's authentic to me. The goal is not just to date, have a significant other, get married, because anybody can make that happen. Like, seriously, anybody can make that happen. You guys are very thirsty. If you really wanted to get married to someone, you could. The truth of the matter is that you want something that's going to be nourishing, healthy, authentic to you, and beneficial for you. So the goal is not just to get a man, but it's to get a good man. So I haven't really been, looking on the apps too much because there aren't a lot of good men on there. So why would I go that route? Realignment is the assignment. So I moved since then, back in my hometown, and I'm still learning and seeing things, and my life is still taking shape. It's still taking color. The picture is becoming clearer as time goes on, and there's still a lot of gray spots where I'm not sure and I don't understand, and there are things to figure out. But as you continue to live day by day, life does begin to take shape. So in the process of moving back being around family again, being around some people that, people that I haven't seen in a while, reacquainting myself with family, going to family events, because where I used to live before I moved to North Carolina, I used to live in Jersey. And so I was still far from family, but now being so much closer, I'm really seeing the importance of making sure that whoever, whatever you choose to allow in your life, that it's in alignment, and catching it early if it's not. So one thing I could say to realign your life to a space where it works for who you are now, you have to do a lot of shedding. You have to shed, and when you think you've shed enough, shed some more. If you shed people, things, places that no longer serve you, go back over your life, look again, and see what else can be cut, because oftentimes those old things won't fit with who you are now. I've experienced a lot of that this year. 2024, I guess, has been the year of like shedding. I've being loyal almost to a fault. I've pulled people in that shouldn't have been, because I knew you from another period of time in my life. And that's impacted me. A lot of friends that are not friends. And, but because I knew you from back when, pulled you in, and it just came back to bite me. And I think maybe perhaps it being more discerning from before time, perhaps we would have never gotten to this point where I would have now had to emotionally release them from my life. So that happened for me this year with people, friends, family. I think about my cousin who, knew her from very young, but then things came up and it was shocking to me. And I wondered, well, how long has that been there? And I had to shed that individual. Nope. Friend from years ago, you forgive, you move forward, and I'll always stand by forgiving. But when people show you who they are, believe them. Sorry, guys, I'm getting texts. So just having to shed that person, and I'm proud of myself for just moving on without conflict, without drama. And then this most recent one, moving back to my hometown, I was like, I connected again with someone that I knew from my childhood. But we didn't fit, right? But because I'm that nostalgia effect, and just that was my person, I vibe with them. It that overshadowed the person that was standing in front of me. I have worked really hard to be someone who keeps going, who tries to look at the bright side of things, because I've been in a position in my life where I was very negative, or where the negativity has impacted me to a great degree. And that's not the way I choose to live my life. And then I noticed from early on, like, wow, this person is like so negative. You're talking about something positive and they flip it to like negative, and almost like weaponized victimhood, always wanting someone to feel sorry for them. And everybody's got a sob story, right? Everybody wants empathy. But when you feel like your empathy is being taken advantage of, you have a right to reclaim that. And so that's what I did. And this person didn't like it, so they stopped talking to me, right? So it is what it is, that's fine. Because then I thought even before that, I was saying to myself, no, I don't like how texting with this person can feel like doing battle for some reason. Like any opinion you give, there's a disagreeing comment about it. There's always devil's advocate. But if you're playing devil's advocate for everything I say, then you start to question, well, does this person, are they really in my corner or are they not? For everything I say, there's a rebuttal, there's a retort. You have to question those things. So I already noticed that, and I was already like, yeah, I'm going to like pull back, not text so much. You have to say what you mean and mean what you say, right? Because I still wind up texting them about something that I thought was harmless, like, hey, what you doing for your birthday? And it again resorts to negative, like how we talk about your birthday, right? That's like the most, if you can't find positivity in life, just literally breathing for another, seeing the sunrise for another year, then you really have some things to work through. But that's what wound up happening. And then they just stopped talking to me because they didn't like that I didn't want to feed into the negativity. And that's fine, because you know what? Realignment is the assignment. Where I am now, I can't have that kind of negativity in my life. I just can't. It doesn't allow for me to move in the way I need to move. I need to be looking forward. I can't always look back at who hurt me, who harmed me, who did this to me. I got to look forward to what else is there for me to come. So if that's not where you are, if that doesn't fit with me, with where I am, then it has to go. So to me, a favor was done. So I think that shedding is the first step to realigning your life with where you want it to be. People don't fit anymore, and that's okay. I don't fit with people. People don't fit with me. It's okay. There's a big world, and people are not going to fit with you. Realign your life to be with people who fit, or even sometimes just not people, right? Sometimes people just, you got to take a break on people, and that's a good thing. I recommend that. Have moments where your circle is like very small. Have those times, because again, people slip in because you just knew them from a different point in your life. And your brain is wired that way to form those easy connections. And so for me, it's kind of happened this year, like on a not realizing it until a certain period of time after the falling out of something has happened. But be proactive in that. Sit down, look at who's around you. Who do you talk with? Who do you text with? Are they on the same path as you, or are they kind of weighing you down? Think about those things and move accordingly. Another thing with realigning your life is, after you do that shedding, what do you want? Look at what do you want? Because we often looking at what we don't want, what's happening that doesn't fit. But what do you want? What does fit in your life? I think this is something I did for my life, but I need to go back to it, because the life I had envisioned wasn't the life that I was living, am living. And so I got discouraged and just kind of like, well, instead of throwing away what didn't fit, I'm throwing away the vision that I do want. Backwards. That's totally backwards. You don't throw away what you do want, you throw away what it is you don't want. And even if it's temporary, right? Even if it's temporary that you have what you don't want, you still keep it in your mind, the vision of what you do. And that literally just hit me right now. And that never would have happened if I hadn't come back to this podcast. So I'm so glad to be here. But it's so true. Don't throw away what you do want just because it's not working with where you are now. Keep what you do want in your mind, in the forefront of your mind. You just have to work to make sure that what is currently here doesn't remain. Right? Sometimes, as the scriptures say, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Sometimes you do go through a period of weeping, of having to endure things that you don't want, things that doesn't work for you. And there's a season for that, but always work towards what you do want. Figure out what that is. And then what is the first step that you can take to make that vision a reality? What is the first thing you can do to realign your life? What hurdles are in your way? What's one thing that you could do to get over, maybe, or even start to take a step to getting over that hurdle? I think about like the Olympics or gymnastics, when they run and do that jump over and land so beautifully. It starts with that first step, though. We look at when they clear the bar, but it's not the clearing of the bar it is the most important part, but it doesn't happen if they don't first start with that run. So What's the first thing you could do to clear the hurdle that's stopping you from getting to what you want? You have to sit down, think about that, and take that first step, because that is the first thing to alignment. Aligning your life, creating a life that fits with who you are today. For me, it's my mind. Maybe it is for you. So this is just me telling you about myself, and perhaps it'll spark something for you. It starts in the mind. I realize that for me, I don't believe. I know I could see what I want. I could see the vision. I know exactly what I want because I took time away to make that happen. Last year was amazing for me. Amazing. Particularly the end of last year, because I took time. I did something radical. I quit my job. I lived off of how I lived. Right? I don't need to give it all the details, but I quit my job and I lived off of some money without working, and I just took time to get to know myself. As somebody who has been a worker for my entire life, I've been working since I was like maybe like 15 years old, 15, 16 years old. I actually took 1 year where I did not work. I wasn't in school. I wasn't working. I took time away for myself, and I learned about me, and I learned about what I actually wanted. I created a vision, and it's still there. So I've done the work in terms of knowing what it is I want my life to be like. And I even updated it and did it again with the person I am now, because I've gone through a very tough year. So things have kind of changed in me a little bit. And I took the time to revisit and get to know, get sharpen those ideas of what it is I want for my life. And so I know what they are. But the issue is for me is that I keep doing things that are not in alignment with that. And then I keep ending up in the same place. And instead of trying to create a new path, I keep going to what's familiar. And then I end up in a place where later on I'm like, why did you go down that road again? You knew it wasn't in alignment with you because you learned that about yourself last year. And you knew it for years. Why are you still going down that route? So I think for me, it starts in my mind, because I have to believe that I can actually create a new path, that I can do something dramatically different to get to where I want. That's the first hurdle for me. It's actually not a physical hurdle. It's a psychological, it's a mental one. I don't think that I can actually get the life that I want. And that's something that I have to break down, because it's stopping me. It is a blockage. I have been blessed. Everybody's been blessed with a gift, something that they can do to provide for themselves and their families and make a living and, make their own path. And mine is writing, mine is speaking, mine is what I'm doing right now. But yet I'm not doing it on a big scale like I could, because it's something up here that says, no, you have to do what you know you can do that makes you money, and that's being a teacher. And teacher specifically in the public school. And I'm not there anymore. It's not in alignment. And I've seen that this entire year. It's nothing else to show me that I know that's not the right track for me. And it's very hard to still get off of it. And some of it's, just reality. You have to eat. And so if nobody's there to help you, then how do you get off the teaching bandwagon if you don't have another way to make money right now? So some of it's just, reality. Absolutely. But some of it, a lot of it too, is the mind, because you have more ways to make money now than ever through the internet. So even if you had to be a teacher, you don't have to teach in a public school. You don't have to do things a traditional way. So there's a lot of it is the mind. And honestly, that starts with some rewiring. And that's something that I'm going to really dedicate and work on. I think for me, it's a lot of positive self-talk, getting things in front of me that remind me of those positive messages. If you're the same way, I could recommend a few things. Just getting around some good people that are talking that talk that's going to build you up. Listening to this podcast, I'm one of them. You need to get around some good people that tell you that you can do it, that everybody out here is doing it and getting money and doing things, that they live in their dreams, that they are not just getting around people who talk the talk, but people that you could see it, that they are actually living their dreams and remind you that they are no better than you. And if they can do it, then you can do it. And I hope to be that for you, because I'm going to be that for me. Because I know I can, and I know that this is not my end. I know this is not what the future will look like for me. Being miserable, exhausted, burned out, disgruntled, falling out with old people I knew. That's not my future. Everything negative, nothing positive, barely making it. That's not my end. And I refuse to believe it is my end. And so it's just getting that deep inside your mind, your heart, truly believe in it. It starts with the belief. Actions first start with the believing that you can. If you don't believe that you can do something, you'll never take that first action, that first step to do it. So starting with that belief, and that starts with getting positive messages in and around you all the time. So listening into this podcast, because this is a new journey for me, and I'm going to take you on it. So listening into this podcast, you'll see me do it from the ground up. So listening to positive affirmations, very important, because everything around you screams, this is what it's going to be. And negativity, and almost, who do you think you are for trying to make a change? And this is your lot in life. And those are all lies. Those are straight up lies from the pit of hell. They're not true. They're not true. How do I know they're not true? Because I could see it in my life. I've lived different. So I know it's not true because I've lived different. I've seen otherwise. Have you? Have you lived different in your life? Have you seen something different in your life? It's not true. Don't believe it. Don't accept it. You are what you accept. If you accept that you're nothing and worth nothing, then that's what you'll get. Don't accept it. Again, you have the power. It is in your power to even just believe different, right? Maybe you can't make the scenarios happen different yet, but you can believe different about yourself. So it's all within your right. In addition to getting in community, right? Listening to this podcast, finding good community, good people who are on your journey, who trying to lift just like you, who trying to go forward just like you. Is in addition to listening to positive things, people who are doing it, looking at other examples, affirmations. I think just there's something called, people call them glimmers. Like sometimes things will just come up that will hit you in a way where you almost feel like God is talking to you, or you being shown something. It's that next thing that's going to help get you to the next step. Look for that in your life. You'll find it. If you're on a journey to get to the place you want to be, that will give you a sense of purpose, rest, peace in your life for once. You want that in your life. As you're on that journey to get there, look for the things along, look for the breadcrumbs, look for the glimmers. I found one yesterday. I'm on X and I'm scrolling and this quote comes up, and it's a quote from, what is he, a psychologist? He was a psychologist, Carl Jung. This was a quote: "You are not what you say, you are what you do." That was a breadcrumb for me. I know the way. The problem is I don't act. And so he says, you are not what you say. I will say a lot of, I want to do this, I want to do that. This is what I want to happen. This is my goal. Even specifically, I want to read this book. And then I'm like, wait, you said you wanted to read this book on this thing that was going to help you, and then you never read the book. So then you're not getting what you need, because you're not what you say, you are what you do. So what I am is reflecting almost a void, emptiness, nothing, because I'm not actually taking steps. I'm not actually doing. I'm saying, but I'm not doing. So that was like a breadcrumb for me. That led me to the next step. That led me to actually putting on at my phone and making this podcast, because I'm not what I say. I say I want to do the podcast. Been saying that for weeks. I say I want to read the book that has the information that's going to help heal a lot of that stuff that does that thing, that whatever that thing is that doesn't make me believe that I can attain my dreams and get what I really desire out of my life. The answers were in that book. And I said I was going to read the book, but I never did. And here I am. And I was like, where's that book? I found it. I was like, nope, I'm going to read this book. And I actually started reading it today, because you're not what you say, you are what you do. But just coming across that quote, that little glimmer actually directed and changed the course of my actions. So look for those things and actually act on them. It's going to help you realign your life. Realignment is the assignment, ladies. We are in the end of 2024. If things haven't gone how you hoped, if things hadn't gone how you desired, realign your life. Shed the things from this year that no longer serve you. Maybe you picked up some things along the way. I know I definitely built up so much more armor on me. I'm a lot more short-tempered. I've matched energy more. And I don't want to be that, because I don't want people taking me out of who I am. So shed the things that no longer serve you. Get out of harmful environments. Get away from harmful things and things that almost take you off track. Shed some more. And whatever's left, make sure it fits somewhere. Give it a purpose. Don't let anything just be here floating out. What purpose does it serve? Is it serving a purpose in your life, in your vision, in your goals in some way? If so, keep it. If not, discard. It's November. The leaves are falling. They're changing. Shed some more. And then think about what it is you actually do want. Because life does not have to always be reactive. Life can actually be proactive as well. You're not a victim. You're in the driver's seat of your life. Things don't happen to you. They happen for you, and you make them happen. So even things you don't expect that happen for you, you can use it, flip it, remix it to make it work for you. Go on and do that. Take a step and then revisit, reflect. Did that get you closer to your vision? Did that get you closer to the life you actually want? Not the life that was put on you, but the life you want. Look for that glimmer. Look for that breadcrumb to help you take that next step. Keep positivity around you always, because life itself will try to convince you you can't do it, that you can't get out of this, that you're stuck. Life itself will try to feed you that narrative. Don't buy into it. Stay focused. Realign your life. Get the life you want. This is not a dress rehearsal. You don't get a second chance to do it, right? So you were blessed with another day. Go on and use it to your advantage. Thank you for listening into this podcast. I hope that this podcast is coming at a good time, beginning of November. I hope you take this and use it for the next 2 months of 2024 and set yourself up for success for January 2025. And thank you for being with me on this journey. My name is Shanentra. You have just listened to the Dear Single Women's podcast. See you soon.